Everything is gonna be alright. Alright. I'ma soldier on the fight till I higher to my life. In a world full of darkness, I just wanna be that light. That's what it is, so I decided to use it. Waking up all my people, dropping beautiful music. Yeah, my mama told me I was always a leader. Back then I couldn't see it, but now I believe her. I thought I'd never see the day with so many people. They hit me up and tell me that they want me to teach them. I know the Father Spirit operating within me, causing me to come up with these inspiring lyrics. Finally, at the end, people starting to listen, paying attention. Yeah, they taking me serious. All praises to the Most High for making this happen. So I'ma keep pushing for you, cause I see you as family. No matter what happens, I'ma keep on fighting, uplifting my people. That's the job of the righteous. Oh, yeah, my struggles. Sometimes we don't know what to do. We always feel like giving up, but this what I'ma tell you. We gon' fight, we not gon' let Satan take over our life. Right. Put your faith and your trust in the Most High. Know that everything is gonna be alright. Alright. We gon' fight, we gon' fight, we gon' fight. We gon' fight, we gon' fight, we gon' fight. We not gonna say and take over our life. Put your faith and your trust in the Most High. Everything is gonna be alright. Yeah. Like for real, man. No matter what, you gotta keep pushing, man. Yeah. This is spiritual war out here. Yeah. Turn up.
Yes. All praise to the Most High. Happy Sabbath. Shalom, everyone. We gonna fight. We gonna fight. We gonna fight. That was in Yarika. All praise to the Most High for another Sabbath. I know people are like, what's going on? You missing in action. Never missing in action. Always trusting in the Most High. And a lot of things going on, but I'm back. All right. So right now, I'm going to give some history on one of our battles. And I think that we need to review some of these. Well, this particular victory I want to review. All right. So I'm in the Josephus, book 3, chapter 2, paragraph 1. All right. And this is how the Amalekites and the neighboring nations, people, made war with the Hebrews. With the who? With the Hebrews. And were beaten. And were beaten by the Israelites and lost a great part of their army. All right. So I figure I'll read this to you. Not everybody has the Josephus. And everybody have heard, I guess, the scripture or the details of this victory and set in this way. All right. So, um, give me a moment. Mhm. Um, Psalms 27 and verse 11. Teach me your way, O Most High, and lead me in a plain path because of mine enemies. That's what David said. Deliver me not over unto the will of my enemies. All right. For false witnesses are rising up against me, as such as breathe out cruelty. Verse 14 says, wait on the Most High, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Yep, he will strengthen your mind, Israel. Wait, David said, on the Most High. So we must wait on the Most High. All right. Psalms 29 and 11. The Most High, Ahaya, Yah, will give strength. He will give what? Power unto his people, the Hebrews, the Israelites. The Most High will bless his people, the Hebrews, the Israelites, with what? Peace. All right. Those of his blood descent, the Hebrews, the Israelites, and those that convert to the Israelites, he said, the Most High will give strength unto his people, all that are Israel and all that becomes Israel. The Most High will bless his people, all that are Israel and all that are converts to Israel, with peace, with shalom. All right. So let's read here. All right, about this war. The name of the Hebrews began already to be everywhere renowned. Renowned means famous. And rumors about them ran abroad everywhere. This made the inhabitants, the population of those countries, to be in no small fear. Accordingly, they sent ambassadors to one another. The nations sent ambassadors between one another. All right. They're talking about the spectacular things that the Most High did and how we were victorious. All right. So accordingly, they sent ambassadors, messengers to one another. Okay. And encouraged one another to defend themselves. And exhorted one another to defend themselves and to endeavor to destroy these men. Those that induced the rest to do so were such as inhabited Gablatis and Petra. All right. They were called Amalekites and were the most warlike of the nations. All right. That lived there about, and whose kings exhorted one another and their neighbors to go to this war against the Hebrews, the Israelites, telling them that an army of strangers and such a one as had run away from slavery. Ran away from what? From slavery under the Egyptians, and lay in wait to ruin them. So, okay, that was a lie. So, um, so the kings encouraged one another and their neighbors, their associates, their allies, to go to this war against the Hebrews, telling them that an army of strangers, as such a one, has run away from slavery under the Egyptians. Psalms 83. Lay in wait to ruin them. All right. Which army they were not in common prudence, knowledge, and regard, respect to their own safety, and to overlook, but to crush them before they gathered strength, power, and come to be in prosperity, and perhaps attack them first in a hostile manner, a hostile way. So this is what they're planning. As presuming upon our indolence in not attacking them before, and that we ought to avenge ourselves of them for what they have done in the wilderness, but that this cannot be so well done when they have once laid their hands on our cities and our goods, that those who endeavor to crush a power in its first rise are wiser than those that endeavor to put a stop to its progress, its growth, when it becomes formidable. For these last seem to be angry only at the flourishing, the growing of others. But the former, the past, do not leave any room for their enemies to become troublesome to them. Okay, so they don't allow um, their enemies to become troublesome to them. How do they do that? Eugenics, genocide, okay? They get rid of you quick. They don't waste no time. After they had sent such ambassadors to the neighboring nations, people, messengers to the people, and among one another, their alliances, they resolved to attack the Hebrews in battle. So they planned to attack us. So they made up a lie um, that we ran away from slavery under the Egyptians. No, we was freed by the Most High. See, and we were progressing and growing. Our fame was going around the earth, and we put the nations in fear. And so, when they hear that we are waking up and rising, and they become in fear, they try to genocide us with eugenic shots, Dovik, all kind of different tactics. All right. Um, so they resolved. Their answer was to attack the Hebrews in battle. This is when we're in the wilderness, right? 2. These proceedings of the people of those countries occasioned perplexity and troubled to Moses, who expected no such warlike. We didn't expect no war. We didn't suspect a certain type of warlike, it says, preparations. And when these nations, these people were ready to fight, this is paragraph 2, and the multitude, the crowd of the Hebrews, were asked to try the fortune of war. They were obliged to try the fortune of war. And they were in a mighty disorder. They weren't organized nor ready. And in want, that means need of all necessities, their needs. And still were to make war with men who were thoroughly well prepared for it. Right? So that makes it difficult. we have the Most High. All right? So we got a war with men who are thoroughly well prepared for it. Then, therefore, it was that Moses began to encourage them. He began to what? Encourage them. And to exhort them. Exhort them. That means encourage them to have a good heart. You got to have a good mind to go to war and rely on God's assistance. That's the main thing, having a fear of the Most High. It says rely on God's assistance, the highest assistance, by which they had been advanced into a state of freedom, and to hope for victory over those who were ready to fight with them, in order to deprive them of that blessing, that they were to suppose their own army to be numerous and lacking nothing, and neither weapons, nor money, nor provisions, nor such other conveniences as when men are in possession of, they fight undauntedly, and that they are to judge themselves to have all these advantages in divine assistance through the power of the Most High. They are also to suppose the enemy's army to be small. We should think the enemy's army is small, unarmed, weak, and such as want those conveniences, needs the conveniences which they know must be wanted, needed, when it is the Most High's will that they shall be beaten. And how valuable the Elohim assistance is. They had experienced an abundance of trials. Okay, we an abundance of tribulation understand that the Most High help is with us. We should know that. When it's the Most High's will that they shall be beaten, other nations, and how valuable the Most High's assistance is. They had experienced in abundance many times of trials, tribulation, and those or persecution, and those such as were more terrible than war. We went through things much terrible than war, Israel, for that is only against men. But these were against famine. We went against famine and thirst, things indeed that are in their own nature insuperable, hard to overcome, as also against mountains, and that sea which afforded them no way for escaping. Right? We had to go against mountains, high terrain, and that sea, the ocean, which afforded them no way for escaping, fleeing. But had all these difficulties been conquered, how has it been conquered? By the Elohim's gracious kindness to them. It was his great kindness and mercy. Right? So by the Most High's gracious kindness to them, they overcome. So he encouraged them to be courageous at this time. Be courageous at this time in Jacob's trouble, and to look upon their entire prosperity, to depend on the present conquest of their enemies, to depend on the current victory of their enemies. And with these words did Moses encourage the crowd, who then called together the princes of their tribes and the chief men, both separately and conjointly. The young man he charged to obey their elders, and the elders to listen to their leader. So the people were elevated high in their minds, elevated lifted up in their minds, encouraged in their minds, and ready to try their fortune in battle. They were ready for this battle, and hoped to be thereby at length delivered from all their miseries. Now, they desired that Moses would immediately lead them against their enemies, without the least delay, that no backwardness might be a hindrance to their present resolution, their present answer. So Moses sorted all. What did he do? Sorted. That means directed, guided, organized all that were fit, ready for war, into different troops, and set Joshua, or Joshua, the son of Nun, Joshua, of the tribe of Ephraim. Joshua was the son of Nun of the tribe of Ephraim over them. One that was of great courage. He was of great courage. So if you ran into an Ephraimite, he's going to have great courage. All right? At least Joshua did. And patient to undergo labors, works of great abilities, to understand and to speak, communicate what was proper, right, righteous, and very serious in the worship of the Most High. So Ephraim was going to be very serious in the worship of the Most High, and indeed made like another Moses. He was made like, similar to another Moses, a teacher of piety. That means respect towards the Almighty Elohim, towards God. He also appointed a small party of the armed men to be near the water and to take care of the children. Wow. And the women and of the entire camp, so that whole night they got ready, or they prepared themselves for the battle. They took their weapons, if any of them had such, as were well made, and attended to their commanders, as ready to rush out forth to the battle as soon as Moshe, should give the word of command. As soon as Moses demanded it, they would be ready. Moses also kept awake teaching. He stayed up teaching Joshua. He stayed up teaching Joshua after what manner, what way he should order his camp. But when the day began, Moses called for Joshua again and exhorted him to approve himself. He encouraged him to approve himself in deeds. Faith without works is dead. Okay? He approved himself in work, action, labor, such a one as his reputation made men expect from him, and to gain glory, honor, by the present expedition, in the opinion of those under him, for his exploits in this battle. He also gave a particular encouragement to the principal men, the leaders of the Hebrews, and encouraged the whole army as it stood armed before him. This is what Moses did. And when he had then animated the army, both by his words and works, and prepared everything, he retired after the prep talk and getting them ready, encouraging them. He retired to a mountain and committed the army to the Most High. He gave it over. After he organized it, he gave it to the Most High, the Elohim, and to Joshua. All right. So the Moshe, the servant, the slave of the Most High, retired. He relaxed, or he, he retired to a mountain and committed the army to the Most High Ahia, Yah, and to Yehoshua, Joshua. So the anointed one. So the armies joined battle, right? When I'm saying that, speaking of Christ, okay. Um, so that's interesting in itself. You know, the Most High gives His power over to Christ, Yahshua, right? And you know, David would go to battle. He got his men ready for battle. You know, then he knows that it's in the Most High's will in His hands, His strength to conquer those that are before His army. He prepared the Most High's army, but it's the Most High's army. Then the Most High give it over to Christ, Yeshua. It's something similar like how we pray. We pray through Christ to get to the Most High, right? Um, there's order, all right? So, anyway, he committed the army to the Most High and to Joshua. So the armies joined battle, okay? The Amalekites, and it came to a close fight, hand to hand, both sides showing great alacrity and encouraging one another. And indeed, while Moses stretched out his hands towards the sky, Moses stretched his hands out towards where? The heavens. I'm going to read this uh, note. It says the imminent circumstance that while Moses' hands were lifted up towards the sky, the heaven, the Israelites prevailed. They had victory. And while they were let down towards the earth, or the ground, whatever you want to call it, the world, the Amalekites prevailed. Seems to me the earliest imitation we have of the proper posture used of old in solemn prayer, which was the stretching out of hands and eyes towards heaven. There's power in that, folks. The stretching out of hands and eyes towards the sky. Heaven. As other passages of the Old and New Testament informs us. Now, by the way, this posture seems to have continued in the Christian church till the clergy, instead of learning their prayer by heart, by the mind, read them out of a book, which is in a great measure inconsistent with such an elevated posture, and which seems to me to have been only a later practice introduced under the corrupt state of the church. Though the constant use of divine forms of prayer, praise, and thanksgiving appears to me to have been the practice of God's people, that's the truth. The practice of the Israelites, the patriarchs, the Jews, and Christians in all the past ages, the past times. What will they do? They will stretch out their hands toward heaven with their eyes towards heaven. That's what Moses did. So anyway, Moses stretched out his hands towards heaven, the sky. The Hebrews were too hard for the Amalekites. I'm in paragraph 4. So we in paragraph 4. The Hebrews were too hard, were too strong for the Amalekites. But Moses, not being able to sustain his hands, he couldn't keep his hands stretched out. For as often as he let down his hands towards Hades, or the ground, so often were his own people worsted, being destroyed. He told his brother Aaron, He called Aaron a Levite, and Hur, their sister Miriam's husband, to stand on each side of him and take hold of his hands, and not permit his weariness to pervert it. That means don't let his his hands go down and stop their victory, to pervert, corrupt their victory, because he was losing strength. He needed some more power. That's why we need each other to help our hands to be held up, and we need that sometimes, so we can not err or corrupt or prevent our victory. All right. The prayers of a righteous man and women avail much, and we need to uplift one another, encourage one another. Moses was always encouraging them. This is the time when he needed them to encourage him, not really encourage him, but to help him stand, right? And it's a blessing when brothers and sisters can come together, and we need all of each other to come together so we can stand, right? And we can do nothing without the assistance of the Most High, so we need His assistance and His love and compassion, His kindness to be with us. So we need to repent and ask for forgiveness, past, present, and future, in our forefathers' sins. And we ask for Him to be with us so we can have the victory. All right, so Aaron and Hur held Moses' hands. All right, he told them to, so his tiredness wouldn't pervert it. That means stop the victory. But to assist him, to help him in the extension of his hands. Sometimes we need help extending our hands when we're down, depressed, feeling defeated, and not encouraged. All right, so let me read this again. He told his brother Aaron and Hur, their sister Miriam's husband, to stand on each side of him and take hold of his hands, and not permit his weariness to pervert it, but to assist him in the extension of his hands. When this was done, the Israelites conquered the Amalekites. We defeated the Amalekites by main force. And indeed, they had all perished. They would have had all died, all of them, unless the approach of the night had obliged the Hebrews to desist, to stop from killing anymore. All right. So the night stopped the Hebrews, the Israelites, from killing any more Amalekites. So our forefathers obtained a most signal and most seasonable victory, timely victory. Our fathers always on time. But they not only overcome those that fought against them, but terrified. We did what? We terrified also the neighboring nations, the neighboring people, and got great and splendid advantages which they obtained of their enemies, the other nations, by their hard pains in this battle, for work in this battle. For when they had taken the enemy's camp, we took the enemy's camp, they got ready booty for the public, for the poor, for the strangers, and for their own private families, the Hebrews. or Israelites. Whereas till then they had not any sort of plenty, abundance of even necessary food, needed food. When we defeated the enemy, that's why the Most High said was stored up for the wicked is for the righteous. Right after our defeating the enemy, the lawless, the evil, we had plenty of necessary food, all right, that we didn't have before. Praise the Most High. The aforementioned battle, when they had once got it, was also the occasion of their prosperity. It was the reason of our victory, not only for the present, the current time, but for the future ages also. For they not only made slaves of the bodies of their enemies, but subdued, that means took their minds also. And after this battle became terrible to all that dwelleth round about them, the Hebrews, the Israelites. We became terrible. We're bad news. All right. Uh, our our fame went around the land. We're notorious because our power is great, and he's terrible to those that are against him. But he's wonderful and magnificent to those that trust in him, and definitely his people. Moreover, however, we received a vast quantity of riches, gold, silver, um, money, all kind of things. For a great deal of silver and gold was left in the enemy's camp. Once you defeat the enemy, look at what he provides for us. As also brazen vessels, which they made common use of in their families. Many utensils also that were embroidered, and there were of both sorts, all kinds, that is, of what were weaved, and what were the ornaments of their armor, and other things that served for use in the family, and for the furniture of their rooms, their houses. They got also the prey of their cattle. They got the prey of their cattle, their animals, their livestock, and of whatsoever uses to follow camps. When they removed from one place to another, when they traveled one place to another. So the Hebrews now valued themselves upon their courage. All right. We valued ourselves upon our courage, bravery, and claim great merit for their valor, bravery, and they perpetually inured themselves to take pains by which they deemed very difficult might be surmounted. Um, um, let me read that again. Um, and they perpetually inured themselves to take pains by which they deemed tasks that were very difficult, um, that they might be surmounted. That no task was too hard, especially when you had the Most High, that they could overcome it. All right. And such were the consequences of this battle. It was a difficult battle, but they surmounted. They came out on top, right? Because of the favor of the Most High. On the next day, Moses stripped the dead bodies of their enemies, the Amalekites, and gathered together the armor of those that were fled, that escaped or ran, and gave rewards, payment to such as had signalized themselves in the action, and highly commended Joshua, their general, who was attested to by all the army on record on account of the great actions he had done. And nor was any one of the Hebrews killed in this war, this battle. right? There was none of the Hebrews slain. But the slain of the enemy's army, the Amalekites, were too many to be enumerated, counted, estimated. So Moses offered sacrifices. He offered what after the victory? Sacrifices of thanksgiving to the Most High, the Elohim, Yah, Ahayah, and built an altar to the Ancient of Days, or the Lord of Spirits, the Highest, which he named the Lord, the Conqueror. All right? The Almighty, the Conqueror. The Most High, the Conqueror. He also foretold that the Amalekites, he prophesied, or he told the future, that they should utterly be destroyed. And what's going to happen? Because Moses said it, God's servant, slave, said that the Amalekites will utterly be destroyed. So we're facing them again today, knowing and unknowingly, with the tactics that they're doing. Don't you know that the Amalekites will be utterly destroyed? Go ahead and get in our way in this wilderness. See what's going to happen to you, Amalekites. The Amalekites should utterly be destroyed, says the Most High, through Moses, and that hereafter none of them should remain. How many are going to remain of the Amalekites? Huh? Of the lawless men? Any sinner that don't repent? What's going to happen to you? What's going to happen to the descendants of the Amalekites that go against the Hebrews, the Israelites? They should utterly be destroyed, and that hereafter none of them shall remain. None will last, because they fought against the Hebrews. Somebody's going to fight against us right now, or fighting against us. They are fighting against us right now. There's principalities in high places that work for Hashatan, and they're fighting against us right now. All right? And they will not remain, because they fought against the Hebrews, and this when they were in the wilderness. All right? They're fighting us in the wilderness through our tribulation and persecution. And in their distress also. Right? And are in the need of all things and the necessities, they were fighting against us. All right? And they're doing all kind of things right now against us. Laws and different plans and all kind of things against the Most High's people, who are the Hebrews. All right? So the Amalekites will utterly be destroyed because they fought against the Hebrews. And this when they were in the wilderness. This is when they came after us. And in their distress also. However, he refreshed the army with feasting. Moses refreshed his army with feasting, celebrating. All right. And this did they fight, and so did they fight this first battle with those that ventured to oppose them. This is how the battle went down. The first battle after um, leaving Egypt. All right. All right. So it's going to be a battle leaving Babylon. All right. So those that venture to oppose them, to go against them after they were gone out of Egypt, bondage, slavery. All right, Mizraim, um, confusion. But when Moses had celebrated this festival, uh, celebration for the victory, he allowed the Hebrews to rest for a few days. And then he brought them out after the fight in order of battle. For they had now many soldiers and light armor. And going gradually on, he came to Mount Sinai in 3 months' time after they were removed out of Egypt, bondage, slavery, at which mountains, Mount Sinai, as we have before related, the vision of the bush and other wonderful appearances that had happened. All right. So, just wanted to share, you know, a victory, and that we are up against some wickedness, but nothing is too hard or impossible for the Most High. Um, so we just gotta continue to trust the Most High, you know, to know what He did and what He's gonna do. All right. And so keep the Most High first, right? Because the Most High is a jealous power. So Deuteronomy 5, real quick, and 6, it says, I am the Most High, your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, bondage, slavery, from the house of bondage, servants. You shall have no other powers before me. You shall have no other power before the Most High. Okay? You should not. You should trust Him for all the great things that He's done. 6 and 13. You shall fear the Most High, the Elohim your power, and serve Him, and shall swear by His name. All right? And you shall not go after other gods of the people which are round about you. For the Most High, your power, is a jealous power among you. All right? If the anger of the Most High, your power, be kindled against you and destroy you from off the face of the earth. So put Him first. Don't trust none of their gods, or He will destroy you from off the face of the earth. And He will be a power to your enemy. Your enemy will have the victory. Okay? So we just got to trust the Most High. All right? And let Him fight our battles. You know? He has a mighty hand. He'll take care of the Amalekites, the Egyptians, the Hittites, the Perizzites, all of them. Gergesites, the Most High will do it. Okay? So, vengeance is the Most High's. Let Him give place to the Most High. Don't let His will be done. All right? All right. So, blessed be the Most High power, the power of Israel, who only doeth wondrous things. All right? Wonderful things, magnificent things. All right? And blessed be His glorious name forever. And let the whole earth be filled with His honor. All right? That's it. We must trust in him. And so if you trust in him, you'll keep his commandments and you'll be protected. So Proverbs 6:23, for the commandment is a lamp, it's a light, and the law is light. The commandments is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. All right. And it'll keep you from all wickedness. So just continue to trust in the Most High's law, statutes, commandments, his regulations. All right. Um, Isaiah, let's see, 51:4. Hearken unto me, my people. Listen to me, my people, and give ear unto me. O my nation, my people, for a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. He says, my righteousness is near, is close, my salvation is gone out, and mine arm shall judge the people. The islands shall wait upon me, and on my arm shall they trust. All right. Lift up your eyes to the heavens, to the skies, and look upon the earth beneath, for the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that live in it shall die in the same manner. But my salvation, my safety, shall be forever. My protection for you shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Hearken unto me. He said, listen to me, ye that know righteousness, that know the truth, the people in whose heart is my law. What people? The Hebrews, the children of Israel, the Israelites, right? The Israelites by blood and the converts. He says, the people in whose hearts is my law, my commandments, my statutes. Fear ye not the reproach of men, the correction of men, neither be ye afraid of their revilings. For the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. But my righteousness will be forever. His law, his commandments, his righteousness, his laws and statutes will be forever. My salvation, my protection from generation to generation. The Most High says, awake, awake, put on strength. Don't fear these men. O arm of the Most High, says Isaiah, awake as in the Ancient of Days. That's what we need you to do, because we need you, Most High. Awake as in the ancient days, in the ancient ages and times, in the generations of old. Are thou not it that have cut Rahab and wounded the dragon? Are you not it which have dried the sea, Ahiah, the waters of the great deep, that have made the depths of the sea a way for the ransom to pass over? Therefore, the redeemed of the Lord, which are the Israelites, the Hebrews, return. Come on back with singing unto Israel, Zion, and everlasting joy, happiness shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness, happiness, and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away, says the Most High. He says, even I am he that comforteth you, Israel, Hebrews. Who art you that you should be afraid? Who art thou that you shouldest be afraid of a man. Don't be afraid of a man. Fauci, uh, Charles Schwab, DeVos, Jacob Rothschild, and Bill Gates. Who art thou that you should be afraid, Israel, of a man that shall die? Oh, yes, they're going to start dying. Oh, yes. And of the Son of Man, which shall be made as grass. It says, and forgettest the Lord. What, you guys? What's going on, Israel? Have you forgettest the Lord, your Maker, the Creator, that has stretched out the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, and have fear continually? And has fear continually every day, because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? The captive exile has hastened that he may be loosed. The slaves that are alone, they quickly that he may be loosed. They want to be loosed fast, and that he should not die in the pit in hell, nor that his bread, his food, shall fail. But I am the Most High, your power, that divided the sea, whose waves roared. The Lord of hosts, of armies, is the Most High's name. And I have put my words in your mouth, and I have covered you in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens, and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Israel, you are my people. You know, we are his people. And it goes on, and so we just got to trust the Most High and know that he is our rock, and there's no one like him. Blessings, favor to all Israel, blood and strangers that choose the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May you be blessed, and may we come together. Blessings.